It is a great day to be alive, and I am so thankful for God, Jesus Christ, who lives in us. In today's video, titled Bitcoin and XRP Dream Recap, I'm going to be simply doing that. I'm going to be recapping that dream and also sharing a little bit of information that I purposely left out simply because I wanted to pray about it and get a better understanding of why God showed me that particular thing in that dream. I'm going to also be pulling in things as it relates to Tether and more detail about Ripple Lab as I feel God is revealing it to me based on the dream. So before we get into the video, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing that I'm sharing is financial advice. I'm simply sharing dreams, visions, and interpretations that I feel God has given me as it relates to crypto. Now, let's get into the video. So I want to start off with a quick recap. November 29th, I had this dream about Bitcoin and XRP. I saw kind of like a chart. On one side, it was BTC. On the other side, it was XRP. On the XRP side, I knew that there was something to do with the case. I didn't know whether it was good or if it was bad, but I knew it had something to do with the case. On the other side, it was Bitcoin. And I saw this yellow, swirling, sparkling oval. And I saw something written within this sparkling oval. But before I saw it, I was telling my husband that we have to look at this with our spiritual eyes in order to see what is written, what the message is within this swirling, sparkling oval. And I was able to get a glimpse of something that was in the middle of that. And right immediately after I saw that, I saw these three candles drop extremely fast. So what did I see inside of that swirl? I saw the date of October 17th. And that is why I purposely did not mention it, because I was totally confused as to why in the world would I see an October 17th date in the midst of this swirl on the side with Bitcoin. Didn't make sense to me at all. After making that video, I began to ponder, Lord, why did I see October 17th in that swirl? So I immediately began to go back to the original dream where I saw this original date of October 17th. And that was the second market crash dream. I mentioned that in this particular dream, I first saw a still frame or a picture of what I understood to be a crash. And then from there, I looked down and saw that I was sitting in a ball pit. Well, this is the picture of the still frame picture that I saw. This is the picture that I saw, and it was 3 red candles. And so putting them side by side, this ball pit dream, seeing this still picture of this crash in 2023 is almost identical to the drop that I saw with Bitcoin in my recent dream on November 29th. So is this dream from 2023 connecting with the dream in 2024, depicting that Bitcoin will play a role in this market crash? And so on December 4th, we saw that Bitcoin hit the all-time highs, I think, of 104, a little bit over 104. And then within hours of that happening, we saw a drop. I used KuCoin graphing to graph. And so I saw that it spiked down to 90,000. But I think 92 is roughly what everybody's been saying. I don't think it's a coincidence that news came out about the RLUSD being approved, the stablecoin being approved the same day that news came out about Bitcoin being rejected by Microsoft shareholders. But I thought it was significant simply because both news for XRP and Bitcoin came out on the same day. And in other news, we have Tether. Tether was delisted on on Coinbase on December the 13th. I know they said that the latest was December 31st. And we know that much of Bitcoin is paired to Tether. So on one hand, you have the RLUSD stablecoin being approved, and then you have another being delisted. And of course, this is nothing new that I've shared already before, the Tether dream that I had in April the 10th about Tether disappearing, falling, and when it was pulled back up, it was unstable, not able to stand the Tether swing. And so as I'm thinking about this October 17th date, I'm thinking about that being connected to the second market crash dream. I'm seeing how that is now tying into Bitcoin, representing something to do with Bitcoin and the market crash. And then all this that's been going on with Tether, and at the same time, news about the Ripple stablecoin. My mind began to go back and connect dots. And for starters, I want to go back to the very first market crash dream, because this is where it all begins. This dream was not only about an extremely bad market crash, but it was also about conception. In this case, if you see the test tube there, it's about in vitro fertilization. But of what? There were also pregnancy tests that I saw. There was a blue pregnancy test and there was a yellow pregnancy test. And both tests were put one inside the other, and they both were placed inside of a white cap. So a market crash is taking place, in vitro fertilization, and a positive test read, twins. Again, the second market crash dream, because of the October 17th date, connecting that with Bitcoin, because I saw that date in my recent Bitcoin dream. Moving forward, I was watching a video where this gentleman was sharing the fact that BTC developers also were developers of XRP. They were developers, they were creators, they were making something, they were bringing something forth. And so for me, I began to look back at this test tube. I began to zoom in on it, and I began to look at those two sperms inside of that test tube. And I labeled one RLUSD and the other XRP. And the test tube itself, I'm labeling XRPL, or XRP Ripple Lab, because experiments takes place in labs. So this guy is saying that XRP was made to be a better Bitcoin. And XRP was developed by the BTC Bitcoin developers to do what? To overcome scalability and energy usage problems, to allow faster and more efficient transactions. Nothing new. We all know that. After labeling those two sperms and the test tube, again, we're looking at pregnancy, twins, positive test results. Both tests placed within the same cap. The cap represents, in this case, XRPL, or Ripple Lab. And one pregnancy test represents XRP. The other pregnancy test represents RLUSD. And because this gentleman, like he's explaining, that the Bitcoin developers developed XRP to be a better Bitcoin, what do we see? We see the RLUSD stablecoin that I believe will replace Tether. And we see XRP, which I believe will be a better Bitcoin. So in vitro fertilization of what? XRP, RLUSD, and this was all taking place within the Ripple Labs. And so I do believe that we have yet to see this fall of Tether in the way that I saw in this dream, where it's going to become unstable. Of course, because of the trading pairs, once again, with Bitcoin, it's going to have a negative effect on Bitcoin. Bitcoin will lose its spot as number one, and that will leave what was created by the Bitcoin developers in the Ripple Lab, XRP, and RLUSD to rise when Tether and Bitcoin fall. And I do believe that this Bitcoin fall will be temporary. And when I began to record this video, I saw something that caught my eye here on this thumbnail that I did with the Bitcoin, the circle with the Bitcoin in it. If you look over to the right, you see OCT. I don't think that is a coincidence. I didn't notice that until a few minutes ago. And finally, I want to share one last dream that I had about XRP, and I am calling this the anatomy of XRP. And it did have something to do with KuCoin, and I'll share that at the end. This dream I had on December the 7th. And this dream started out with me seeing a crowd. They were cheering, they were going wild, like these white bars, white lines, and a price of $2.53. And the crowd was going wild. Next, I saw this image in blue, and around it what looked to be like intestines. And in the end, it looked like a stomach and an esophagus, and the stomach and the esophagus was filling up with this blue looking liquid. And then everything around it became blue. And at this point, I saw a price of $2.74, and yet the crowd was still going wild. On the next level, I saw something moving, like it was beating like a heart. And again, I saw the intestines around it. And in this section, it was all red. And I saw a price of 281. Now, as far as XRP goes, these are not prices that we have not seen. I think the highest it was 291 is what we saw. But for whatever reason, I saw the ascending of these numbers, these prices, and the people were going wild, as well as seeing these body parts and functions, things that make up the anatomy of the inside of our body. And so what I gathered from this was all this began with the in vitro fertilization with the sperm, and that being implanted, and a positive pregnancy coming out of that. And from that derived the embryos of two twins, the XRP and RLUSD, with the XRPL, the Ripple Lab, being the storehouse for this, or being like the mother that is carrying these two twins. And then when you get to the last stream that I just shared, as you look at the body functions and the anatomy and the stomach and the esophagus and the heart, you're looking at, in my mind, a baby that is being born, not dependent on the mother anymore. And you see, as it moves from the stomach to the esophagus to the heart, we see an increase in the XRP price. And so I think that all of these three dreams, the old and the new, all go together to, again, make up a storyline as it represents the beginning of XRP and RLUSD, and as they begin to go through the birthing process or the building process in order to become what it is now. So hopefully that makes sense. That's what I see, at least. And then there was something about KuCoin, and this was the first dream that I had as it relates to KuCoin. It looked as if all of this was happening on something that had to do with KuCoin. I don't know if KuCoin is going to have anything significant to do with XRP and the RLUSD in the near future. But then a few nights after having the dream about the anatomy of XRP, I had another dream. And in this dream, a representative from KuCoin was calling me in order to see if I wanted them to send me a second confirmation of my transaction. So I don't know if there's going to come a time where we're going to be able to get back on KuCoin, if that's what's being foreseen here. But for whatever reason, I've had two dreams that have to do with KuCoin. And right now, of course, we know that we don't have access. Those in the U.S. don't have access to KuCoin unless you have that special card. So what I've just shared in this video, we're looking at the crypto aspect as far as the market crash timeline is concerned. As I shared before, based on these dreams that God has given me, a lot of these things have to do with dates dealing with war, dates dealing with crypto, and then, of course, the dates dealing with the market crash, which is the ultimate thing that God has been dealing with me about. In some way, I believe that all of these things will collide and there will be a dominoes effect. And in the end, we will see that market crash. Again, somehow it's all connected. We have to just wait to see how the Lord allows this to play out. So that is all that I have for this video. Until the next one, God bless.